You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey there, Days of Our Lives fans. We have got your Days of Our Lives recap for Friday, April 14th, 2023. And this is when we see the fallout from the biscuits. Of all the couples that are drugged and getting close to hooking up, only one of the couples actually does the deed. We've also got a lot of vomiting and some trips to the emergency room as it comes out that very bad things came from Sweet Bits Bakery that have infected a lot of Salem. And at the end of the episode, we do get confirmation of who drugged the biscuits, but we still don't know why. Before we dig into our recap today, be sure and click that subscribe button below so you don't miss any of your Days of Our Lives recaps or spoiler videos right here at Soap Dirt on YouTube. So the first couple we're going to talk about are Eric Brady and Nicole Walker. She is hallucinating him in the priest outfit, and then all of a sudden he's seeing it too, and then he's worried he's going to get in trouble for impersonating a priest, so they head to his room at the Brady pub, and he strips down to his skivvies and gives her the priest outfit, which of course doesn't exist, and she's going to have it dry cleaned. But then all of a sudden he sees her in a bikini, and then she sees herself in a bikini, and then he wants to take modeling photos of her, and he pulls out a banana and starts using it as a camera, and it's insane. And then they start making out, and then they hit the sheets. But before they do, she asks him about Sloan, and he says Sloan kicked him out because he worried about her going after revenge on Paulina and Chanel. And he asked her about EJ, and she says he's boring. All he wants to do is get revenge on his brother. And so they start making out, and they do the deed. Now, over in Town Square, we've got Johnny and Chanel. He's dropped to one knee. He's proposed to her, and she says yes. Wendy Shin sees it and comes over furious. She's like, why are you proposing to her? And he's like, well, you were going to go out with Trip. But then what's crazy is he says that he can still have his dinner date with Wendy after he and Chanel get back from their honeymoon. Wendy just cannot believe what she is hearing. And Chanel seems fine with it, which is also funny. And then Wendy just tells him, you're just like everybody says you are. And she storms away with no idea that he is high as a kite on those biscuits. Next, we've got Gabi and Li. They are at the little apartment. She is hallucinating. She thinks he's Stefan. She goes on and on about how he's the love of her life. And Li is just mad because he knows she just cheated on him. But then when she says, let's go to the bedroom and hit the sheets, he follows her. But he has a crisis of conscience. They're making out on the bed, and she's begging him to make love to her. But then he just can't do this because he knows she thinks he's Stefan. And so he stops, he calls it off, and she throws up on his shoes. So that's not looking good, and we'll see more of them later. Then we have Stefan and Trask. She comes out of the shower in a towel, and he's there, and then he's hallucinating her as Gabi, but he doesn't say Gabi's name for a while. And so Trask thinks he's actually into her, and they start getting frisky. They fall into bed. She tells him to make love to her, and he's just about to when he has a moment of clarity, and he realizes that is Trask and not Gabi. And then he's asking, where did Gabi go? And then Trask is like, what is happening? But then Trask is really out of it too, because she also had some of the biscuits. She attacks him and starts throwing things at him, and then she passes out. Things are looking very bad. Over at the Salem cop shop, Rafe just seems drunk. He has got biscuits all over him. He is having a big old time. Jada comes in and notices his behavior is off. He has this wacky phone call, and then he starts hallucinating her in this really sexy outfit. He says the rules against fraternization are stupid, and he comes over and plants a big kiss on her, and she's basically fighting him off right as Sloan Peterson comes in the door and wants to know why he's basically assaulting her, and things get ugly. And then things get really weird. Remember that dumb stuffed bear that Rafe had, Duke, the one he and Nicole were swapping back and forth, and then got his head cut off by Ava Vitale? Well, anyway, all of a sudden, Rafe is picturing Sloan as a life-size Duke doll, and he comes over and is talking to her, and he's referring to Sloan as that blonde witch, and she's freaking out. Jada wants to know what's going on, and then he just passes out cold. So that looks really bad. Then we have Sloan leaving the cop shop and coming to Eric's place at the Brady pub, and she wants to apologize to him, but he's being weird and he's not opening the door. He finally opens it with a pillow over his crotch, and she busts in the door and sees Nicole naked in his bed. Nicole calls her Sloany Baloney, and then she starts actually talking to them, and she realizes that they are both high as a kite and that they had some pastries that got the better of them. Then Johnny and Chanel get coffee. He's bummed that Wendy dumped him. And then Talia comes up and has more biscuits. Johnny makes a grab for them. They won't let him have them, and he heads off. Things are getting really weird. Li brings Gabi into the hospital, and she sees Stefan there because he had brought in DA Trask, who's in the emergency room. They are starting to realize things are bad. Stefan talks to Jada about the drugging, and she heads off to Sweet Bits Bakery because Jada now knows that the biscuits are the problem. Talia is there with Chanel, and Chanel accuses Sloan poisoning the biscuits. But the thing is, she didn't do it. And we get a flashback scene in the last few moments of the show, right after Chanel says, who would do this twisted thing? And we see, as we had mentioned on our last recap and in some spoiler articles on soapdirt.com, that Talia was the one who poisoned the biscuits. Jada vows to find out who did it and bring them to justice. But of course, the problem is that her sister is the one who did it. So what we've got is, in the end, the only couple that engaged in full-on drugged-up biscuit nookie was Eric and Nicole. Sloan knows that Eric slept with Nicole, although she may look past it because of the drugging, but we also bet, since she despises Nicole, that there's no way that she's going to keep that secret. So my prediction is that she is going to run and tell EJ that Nicole was warming her ex-husband's sheets. Also, we expect that Johnny's going to have some fallout from Wendy because he's probably not going to remember the incidents of this day the way that she will. Gabi and Li and Stefan seem to be on the cusp of clearing the air between them now that he knows that she definitely doesn't want him and has given up on the idea of the Demera shares. DA Trask may throw the book at whoever they arrest for this biscuit poisoning because she was humiliated over what happened with Stefan. As for Rafe and Jada, of course, he's going to be completely embarrassed when he remembers he basically forced a kiss on her. And things are going to be interesting, and we wonder why Talia is doing this. Clearly, there's an agenda there, and it seems to be to ruin Chanel's business. But why does Talia have a thing against her? So there's some motive and backstory there that we don't know about, and hopefully we'll find out soon. Be sure to hit that subscribe button below. Check back all the time for more Days of Our Lives weekly and daily spoilers and your latest recaps.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.